Hey, what's up, millionaires? It's me back. Norris is back again. I had so much good feedback from the video I posted earlier. I said, you know what? I'm gonna keep the series going. So we're gonna have a little midnight mojo fun here. We're gonna talk a little bit more about finance, about money, about investing, about wealth, about net worth, about all the stuff you'd ever want to know about money, investing, and wealth. So I'm gonna give a little time for some more people to get on because I have a few things I want to go over. It's 11:56 right now, Central Standard Time, and I plan on going into the lesson about 12 o'clock straight up. So we're gonna have these midnight millionaire conferences or seminars or whatever you want to call them here going forward. I don't know how often we'll do them yet. I'm not sure. Depends on the demand. If people really want it, then we'll do it. If people say, you know, that's too late, I'm going to bed, I got kids, I got other stuff to do, then we'll move it to another time. But it's not set in stone yet. I'm just doing it by request. I'm doing it by when people said they want it and they really like the first one. So I have tons and tons of content to share because over my last, 15 years of being an entrepreneur, I have a whole lot of stuff to share, and it's crazy to keep it to myself. So I figured this is my way of giving back. This is my way of helping. This is my way of paving the way. Now, look, I don't know everything. I'm not an ultra rich dude, not yet anyway. I'm working on it. But they say, you know, if you can help one person get there, you did what you're supposed to do. So I'm going to wait let some more people come on. I can see it's a few people on there now. So I'll wait till some more people come on. Got my handy notes here ready. I got some interesting statistics. I want to share some shocking stuff that I saw. And I'm like, what is really going on here? So I'll give it a little break, get me a little sip of juicy juice while we're waiting. So go ahead and like and share it to your friends if you want. I'm actually trying this new software. So I'm streaming both to my personal page and to my business page. And depends on how it goes, I'll ultimately be streaming to my personal page, my business page, to Twitter, to YouTube, all at the same time. So yeah, that's that little dance that the kids do. I'm looking forward to doing that. So like I said, we're going to wait a couple more minutes, let a couple more people get on, and we'll get the Midnight Mojo rolling. I'm excited about it. I hope everybody's having a good time. In the software I'm using, I can't really see who's on. So I'm sure you're some friends of mine. So I'm going to say, hey, to begin with. The names don't come up in this particular streaming software that I'm using. It just shows the number of people that are on. So feel free to make comments. Feel free to invite your friends. Definitely get a pen and a piece of paper because I do have some notes that I want to share. And to some of you, this stuff will be simple stuff you already know. Some of you, it may be new stuff. And some of it may be stuff that you're familiar with, but you just haven't implemented yet. But there's going to be something for everybody. So I'll give it let's see, we're 11:59 right now. So I'll give it a little more time and we'll get going here in a minute. I'm not going to be long before you, as the preachers say. I'm not going to be long before you. But I do have some stuff that's very important to share, especially going into 2020. I got some good programs coming up to teach people about investing, especially investing in yourself, because that's the most important. So let's see, we're almost there. All right, it's 12 o'clock, so it's time to get started with what we call the Midnight Millionaire Call right now. Looking forward to having fun with you guys. I appreciate you coming. I know it's late. I see it's quite a few people on. I know it's late. I'm glad, and I didn't even make an announcement for it. So for those of you that are on here, it must be a reason why you're here to hear the stuff that I have to share. So I found this article in Forbes magazine, and I'm going to read a little bit of it because this is some amazing statistics, and I'm just going to read it off to you. It says, despite little wage growth and declining job prospects among young Americans, the U.S. is home to vast stores of wealth and a millionaire class that outsizes that of any other country in the world. And it's getting even bigger. The number of Americans who meet the millionaire threshold is set to increase by the average of 1,700 people a day. And it's only growing. 1,700 new millionaires in the United States today. And this article is actually a couple of years old. It was sent to me. But it says by the year 2020, the U.S. is expected to welcome 3.1 million new members into the Millionaires Club by 2020, which grew by 2.4 million from 2010 to 2015. 1,700 new millionaires every day in the United States. So my question to you is, why couldn't it be you? Why wouldn't it be you? Is that something you really want? You know, a lot of people talk about it, and a lot of people say, I want to be a millionaire because they see the rapper say it, or they see the athletes say it, or they see Bill Gates on TV, or they see Warren Buffett, or they read books, or they see Robert Kiyosaki, or they listen to Grant Cardone. They see all these people talk about millionaire. But do you know what a millionaire is for real? Do you have any idea what a millionaire is for real? Well, I'm going to break it down for you right quick, because it's not as hard as you may think it is, but it's not what you've seen at the little hype shows and hype meetings and all that good stuff, which I don't knock any of that because I got a lot of my training there. But here's a simple formula for what being a millionaire is. And it's measured by net worth. It's not measured by how much money you've grossly accumulated or how much you made in a certain amount of time. That has nothing to do with what a millionaire is, because just because somebody has made $1 million in a month or $1 million in a year or $1 million in 5 years doesn't necessarily make them a millionaire, because you don't know how much of that they actually kept. See, being a millionaire is about what you keep, not what you make. Because if let's say someone had a quote unquote regular job, and they have this regular job, they make $100,000 a year. Now, if they make $100,000 a year for 10 years, that's $1 million. And there are a whole lot of people making that kind of money, but you never ever once hear them say, hey, I'm a millionaire, once they hit the income threshold. Only people in the entrepreneur space will, once they get to $1 million of revenue generated, will they then say, I'm a millionaire? The measure of that is everything that you own minus what you owe. If everything that you own added up, your house, your car, your stocks, your bonds, your portfolios, your real estate, you add all that stuff up, and then you subtract all the debt from it. So of course your real estate has a loan against it. Your house has a loan against it. Your car has a loan against it. Your stocks may go up and down. You may have other consumer debt out there, credit cards, bank cards, all that kind of stuff. So once you subtract all those numbers and break it down, if you're above the $1 million threshold, once you add all and subtract and all that, then you're a millionaire. And only then you're a millionaire. So if you make $2 million, but then your debt is $1.5 million, you're not a millionaire. You're a 500,000-aire. That's what you are. So you see all these people making up these stories about, oh, I've done this and I've done that. No, you're not. You're only a millionaire when your net worth and your balance sheet and your financial statements that your accountant does for you add up to $1 million. If you look at that bottom line statement and it says 1,000,000, then you're a millionaire, not before or after that. So what are some of the characteristics of what millionaires really are? And by the way, I call my friends millionaires too, because even though you may not be there yet, we're going to, as the church folks say, we're going to speak that into existence. Here's the biggest common denominator of millionaires. Millionaires are owners. Now, let's get back to, let me clear something up for you right quick, because a lot of people say, well, Norris, aren't millionaires investors? Well, most of the time what happens is you invest to become an owner. So let's take stocks. You have to invest. Well, most of the time you have to invest money. Most of the time you have to invest money to get into the stock market. You have to invest money to get in real estate. And then you get a certificate or sometimes called a security that says, hey, he or she owns this piece of this asset. You invested the money, become a partial or piece of owner of that bigger piece of real estate, or that bigger piece of a mutual fund, or that bigger piece of a stock portfolio. You invest to become an owner. So I know we all think of owners. We think, who's the most famous owner? We all know. He's not the richest, but who's the most famous owner of any type of business we all know? It's Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry doesn't 100% own the Dallas Cowboys by himself. There is an ownership group that all put their money in to buy the Dallas Cowboys. As a matter of fact, Mark Cuban owns a little bit less than 10% of the Dallas Cowboys. See, ownership is a team sport. Ownership is not, hey, I go out, because even let's look at mutual funds. It's the same principle. Mutual funds is the same principle, because when you go invest in, say, like the Vanguard fund, there are hundreds and thousands of other people investing in the same thing together, and they all own a little bitty piece of this really, really big thing. That's what a lot of, I'm not going to say all of them, but a ton of millionaires do. So that's how Mark Cuban can own 10% of the Cowboys. Jerry he's the majority owner. He's not a lot of people think he is the owner. See, there are a lot of people who are owners of the Cowboys, and we have no idea who they are, because that's the way the game works. Everybody puts a little bit in to make a whole lot out the other end. So that's the first thing. You need to be the owner. You need to start thinking like an owner in everything you do, because as an owner, you're expecting something. You put something in and you expect something back on the back end. That's what an owner does. So also, being a millionaire, there are two things that you must have. And I actually learned this from one of the guys I was reading, and I switched it up around for my purposes, but it basically boils down to 80% mindset, 20% mechanics. Here's the thing that we all do. We see the rich real estate guy on TV or on the internet, and he or she is pitching a real estate investing course. We all go by it and run down to the real estate course, and we stay for 3 or 4 days, and we spend $2,000, $3,000, $10,000 to take this course, and we all excited, and we go home with it, and we're going to do everything, and we're going to be a millionaire tomorrow, a millionaire next week, and then I'm going to free everybody. I'm going to do all this, and guess what? As soon as we get home and get cold, that's it. It's there. Because we went to learn the mechanics. That's where the 20% comes in. We went to learn the mechanics, but we never learned the mindset. And the mindset is the biggest thing. The mindset is going to determine if we even do something with the program we just bought. That's why so many people's libraries are big, but their success is so small, because they'll read, collect knowledge, do nothing. Read, collect knowledge, do nothing. Read, collect knowledge, and do nothing. Because they haven't learned how to get out of the spot where they are yet. They haven't worked on their mindset. You see, wealth is a game of capacity. So let's just say, excuse my juice, but let's just say this is the capacity that I'm at right now as far as my wealth building is concerned. So if something comes along bigger than that, an opportunity comes, it's not going to hold it. So that opportunity will pass me right by, because I don't have the capacity to hold that. So what do I have to do? Work on myself to build it up to what will be the next size up: a quart jug, a gallon jug, a half-gallon jug, a gallon jug, a whole tub, a whole room, a whole ocean. So you got to start somewhere and build the capacity up, so then the wealth can flow in, because it's never going to flow in and it can't fit. It'll go right back out and go to somebody else. That's the way that it works. So another thing I want to talk to you about is investing has a hierarchy. And this actually I learned from my own personal experience. Like I've told a lot of people before, I was a financial advisor for 10 years. And I've sold it all: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, insurance, long-term care, property casualty insurance. I've sold all asset classes. And now I'm really heavy into apartment investing. But the one thing I've noticed with all the successful investors that I've met, all the successful business owners I met, is that they invest in themselves first. They invest in themselves first. What does that mean? Body, mind, soul. They make sure body, mind, and soul is well taken care of before business even transacts. They read a lot. They take care of their health. They take care of their families. Now, this isn't every single one of them. We know there are exceptions to every rule, but the most utterly successful ones I've met take care of themselves first. They invest internally first, because any of us that have done personal development work to any certain extent also know that the way that we look on the inside is the way the world looks to us on the outside. Everything in here, when I walk out in the world tomorrow, how I see the world when I walk out the door is how I look on the inside. And so many of us are still dealing with issues on the inside to where we can't go on the outside anymore. So many of us are so damaged or so afraid, because let's face it, we all face stuff in life. We all go through things. We all have been hurt. We all have been disparaged. We all have been talked down upon. We've all been discouraged. And some of us took that to heart, but some of us took that as motivation. So that just depends on how you deal with the things on the inside, how you're polishing yourself up on the inside. So my investing hierarchy is I invest in myself first. Before anything else, before anybody else, I invest in myself first. Secondly, you invest in others. There's so many people out there with so many good ideas and so many good intentions and inventions that all they need is a little bit of help, a little bit of resource from this person, that person. And then, of course, and that's on the business side, but there's also homeless people out there, single mothers out there that actually need help from those of us who have a little bit of excess, or those that have a lot of excess too. Why is that important? All resources, all money doesn't come back to you directly as money. It could come back to you in a blessing, as a relationship, as a resource, as an introduction to someone else, or an opportunity to get in on a deal, or it could come to you in so many different ways. But so just because you put the resource out there in the form of money, it'll come back in an opportunity for more money, but don't expect it. It may not be the paper dollars that come back directly to you. And if it doesn't come back to you that way, that's perfectly fine. Don't even worry about it. So number one, you invest in yourself. Number two, you invest in others. And number three, then and only then do you get into assets. So that could be, if you have quote unquote a regular job, your 401k, if you're a teacher, a 403b, your pension plan at work, then you get into real estate investing, stock investing, there's tax lien certificates, there's 1,000,001 ways. And when people ask me about what assets to invest in, I always tell them find something that you're interested in. There are 1,000,001 assets classes out there. There are 1,000,001 ways to do all this stuff. So it's not just what I say you should do. Find something you're excited about and then dig your way around and find, okay, because everything has an opportunity. I particularly like apartment investing and real estate investing because actually that's where I started. When I first moved to Houston from college, I was broke, I was hungry, I couldn't find a job. The last people that would hire me was this apartment complex, and they gave me a job leasing apartments. And it's funny because all my friends were laughing at me because they have jobs at Shell, Exxon, Enron at the time. Well, we know how Enron ended up. And they were laughing at me because I was leasing apartments, but I didn't care. I just wanted to make some money. But what happened was once I got my momentum going and we started comparing paychecks, because I was kicking on those bonuses, I was kicking their butt on those bonuses. So once we started comparing paychecks, they didn't laugh as much. So that's just it's kind of like ice cream. That's the flavor for me. It may be something totally different for you, but it needs to be something you're interested in, because if you're interested in it, it's more likely you'll stick to it and make better investment decisions. That's just my opinion. Now, some people go in blind and just say, hey, look at the numbers, look at the rate of return, look at the market. That's all I want. And those are non-analytical people like engineers, accountants, or people like that. But I always say find something you're interested in, because even if it's just stocks, there is 1,000,001 stocks out there. And I guarantee you there's a stock somewhere or a group of stocks related to the type of stuff that you like. So find something that you like. Find something that makes your heart sing, invest in it, no matter what it is. It can be international investments too. It doesn't have to just be the S&P 500, the Dow Jones. You can invest all over the world. So the next thing, now here's my biggest lesson. Here's the biggest thing I had to learn once I started on this entrepreneur journey. I had to figure out, let me share a story with you. I remember being in probably the 7th or 8th grade. And I was in, all the little extracurricular stuff. I was in the science club, junior historians. I was in all that stuff. So I remember going to one of my classmates' houses for a Christmas party. Then, of course, my mother, we pulled up in front of the house. It was huge. It was ridiculously huge. So, my mother was telling me, don't touch that, don't do that, all that stuff. I remember walking in the door, and the first thing I was thinking was, my entire house can fit in their living room. Something is wrong with this picture, because I knew that the person, and we're still good friends now, I was like, this person isn't any smarter than me. This person doesn't know any more than I do. There's something wrong here. Why can my whole house fit in their living room? So I figured out then there's just something I didn't know, because I knew I was just as smart as the person. So it wasn't that. There's something that I just don't know. Let me find what that is. So it started for me in about 7th grade to figure out, why is that part of town rich and my part of town is not? What do they know that I don't know? What are they doing that I'm not doing? I never looked at it as it's not fair or anything like that. I just figured I got to find out what it is, because if they can do it, I can do it. If I fast forward to coming to Houston, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? I still got the get rich thing in the back of my mind. I still got the whole, I got to get rich. I got to get rich some kind of way. So I was introduced to network marketing when I first got here. I won't say the name of the company. The reason why it was so alluring was when I walked in, everybody was excited. Everybody was going crazy. Everybody was jumping around and dancing. And I was like, oh my God, I don't go to work like this every day. Now I had the suit and tie and had the good look going on, but I was like, these people are excited. I want some of whatever this is. At one of the events, gentleman walked up to me and was like, you look like a sharp young brother. I want you to take this book and read it. He pulled the book out of his bag. I didn't know this man. I wasn't even, for those that know anything about network marketing, I wasn't even in his downline. He just, something about me, he said, I just got to give you this book. Okay, fine. At that time, I wasn't a big reader anyway. So when he gave me the book, I looked down and the book said, and I suggest you read this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That one book changed my life. The funny thing was, I didn't read it immediately. I didn't read it immediately at all. I took my poor little time and eventually picked it up and was like, oh my God, somebody has been hiding the secret from me. When I read that book, everything, I felt like I was lied to my whole life. Everything that I ever thought was right was wrong. Everything I ever thought was up was now down. And I knew at some point I was going to figure this thing out. And of course, one book leads to another book, leads to another book, leads to another book. But that one book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, will totally change your life. And I know there are a lot of you on there now that agree with that. That's just the way it is, because that book was ridiculous. So that's when I figure out, and this is the slogan I use now, because it is 100% true. To build wealth, you got to first build yourself. That's the first thing. So going back to the top, we're talking about millionaireship. Now, look, let's stop. You may not want to be a millionaire. That may not be for you, but you may know somebody that it is for, so you can share this stream with them. But if there are 1,700 people becoming millionaires every single day, number one, that means there's opportunity. Number two, my question would be, why not you? It doesn't make sense not to. And here's the other thing. Most millionaires now are being created on this thing we're on right now, on the internet. Why the internet? The internet, because the world is your marketplace. You can sell, I'm not going to say you can sell anything. Let's not get overboard now. You can't sell everything, but you can find a product or service that you really like, that you really endorse, whether you create it yourself or you would recommend somebody else's to get paid for it, or you buy somebody else's rights and sell them under your own name, whichever. There's so many different ways to make money on the internet. It'd be a travesty for you to not to take advantage of it. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It has you can create a business right now based on the knowledge and skill and ability that you have right now. My good friend Perry Lawrence, who he used to go by Ask Mr. Video, but I'm not sure what he goes by now, but he says something that really helped me. And I use this a lot. He said, the fourth grader is God to the third grader. The fourth grader is God to the third grader. So when he said that, I was like, oh, so that means there's somebody out there that wants to learn what you already know, that you're not taking advantage of, that you're not packaging, that you're not wrapping it up and offering it for sale on the internet. It's that simple. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world. You just have to be a little bit further down the road than this person who wants to go a little bit faster. So they're willing to invest in your product or service to get where they want to go faster. And a lot of times what happens is they speed on by you. And that's what you want. That's the ultimate goal for you to get there. So I'm bringing this to a close. I really enjoyed you guys being here today. Hey, Share a comment. If you have a question, post a comment. We're going to have a whole lot of these coming up. I'll be doing them in the daytime as well, but there are a lot of people who are night owls like me that are up at this time. And as you can tell, my energy is between 12 and 3 o'clock. My energy is ridiculous. So I figured normally what I'm doing is reading, studying, planning, or whatever. But I said, I'm going to start sharing, because a lot of times at this time of night, people will send me inboxes. What do you think about this business idea? What do you do here? What would you do if you were me? That kind of thing. So I thought I'd come on and share some information with you specifically based on this article here and some other things that are coming up. Why not start thinking now about being a millionaire? If you don't want to be a millionaire, what about a thousandaire? Extra $500 a month, extra $1,000 a month, extra $2,000 a month to take and do whatever you want with it. You don't have to want to buy a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, anything. You may just want to put your child in a private school. You may just want to pay off some student loan debt. You may want to pay off your car debt. You may just want to have a nice emergency fund to the side. You may want to have a travel fund. There's so many different things that a little bit of additional income can do. Hey, I'm Norris Williams. I'm a wealth advisor. I enjoyed having you on today, and we'll see you soon. It's been fun. So like I said, share, comment, post a question if you have one. We love you. Go out and get it.